Hey everybody, Monica Richardson here. You know, things are getting a little weird, so I felt that we need to get right to another video. I started to talk about the history of Alcoholics Anonymous and how it is very enmeshed in our early government in the mid, like 1940s, 1950s. And I want to just kind of bring it all together and explain that AA is a very highly organized organization. It's a non-for-profit, and it is also it may seem unorganized in the group level, and some might seem very, very organized. So let's just get straight to some of it. This book is the annual service. There's a general service conference every year in New York. I don't know, maybe it was virtual in 2020, and who knows what's going to happen in 2021, but just taking a quick look in this, if any of you are involved in big businesses, this is a confidential report, and it shows all the, not all of the financials. It's kind of a little vague, but this is not a little slouch organization, right? And it talks about the millions of dollars. The facts of their tax return is public knowledge. Every nonprofit has to have public, you got to go public on that. So operating expenses, this is like 1.2 million. This is from 2008 and 2002. Okay, so just so you know, when people, tell you that it's not organized, like for instance here, the salaries are, in 2007 were 5,900,000 and some change. That's 5,900,000, the salaries. And they actually don't employ a ton of people, but you can see it's kind of strange. Bad lighting here. But, okay, so there you go. Now, the way that AA works is that, and I found it interesting, if you go on to ProPublica's website, they have a little finder that you can find any non-for-profit. And what I really want to connect here is when people are harmed in Alcoholics Anonymous, when people call New York, whether it's a lawyer or a person, they can be often very rude and very evasive, and they say, we have absolutely no part in this, and we're not, we don't tell people or groups how to act. But in fact, AA is connected. So in New York, there's New York General Service Office, and there is a president, there is a general service manager, because you have to put something on your tax return, right? So there's a name on that. Greg Tobin, Tobin, was the general service manager. I'm not sure if he still is. AA recently added 2 more judges to their board, just so you know, judges on their board. And so there's New York, and then there's meetings, and then there's a lot in between. And the meetings all are supposed to have a general service rep, and that's supposed to connect the meetings to New York. So when New York says we have nothing to do with the groups and the people, that's just like a misnomer. It's not truthful, because in fact they have then a DCM, a district committee member. They have area committee persons. They have these huge districts. They have delegates. The delegates are kind of like a senator might be, or a congressperson in our political structure. In looking back, I'm gonna do a show soon with Joe Miller. This is a must read, guys. In this book, he spent, this is Joe Miller here. we're going to do a podcast, and then I'm going to do a live, I'm going to do a video interview with him as well. But the first one will be a podcast, Blog Talk Radio, Safe Recovery. And first, if I could ask you to please like this video, share it, and subscribe. The same thing with my podcast, Safe Recovery, on Blog Talk Radio, but you can find it on any other platform where podcasts are, and it's all free. And if you need to contact me, you can contact me at makeaasafer@gmail.com. I was a long time member, and I left when I was trying to make it safer, and it became like ridiculous. I could see that that was not going to happen. And what I'm rereading his book. I'm studying it, and I found it just to be crazily outrageous to see how embedded, like Senator Hughes, Senator Howard Hughes, and Marty Mann. So he brought that to, he brought it into DC. He brought congressmen and governors and mayors who are steppers. That's what I call them now. I call them steppers because that's what they are. We want to look at that AA is responsible. AA in New York, this is a huge organization like the church, like the Boy Scouts, that they are responsible when we warned them over 10 years ago that pedophiles, rapists, that sexual harassment, that all this stuff is going on. And we are going to address for the month of, what is this, March, that this is a huge problem in 12-step programs, that we want it addressed. We want the public to know it's not safe. We want the people in the meetings to know it's not safe. We want the predators to know we're on to you, and that people are going to be reporting rapes, sexual harassment. That's a civil issue, sexual harassment. If a sponsor rapes you, that's criminal. And they just can't keep doing this. So there's going to be 2 different shows I'm going to do. One is going to be on with Joe Miller to talk about how deep in the U.S. government AA is. When I say that, I mean by the members. But then what did the members do that became law? Like making it that you have to pay for insurance, but guess what kind of treatment you got with your insurance? It was all 12-step based. It was all AA. And I'm going to do another show on the pilots, and pilots are forced for their entire careers now to the HIMSS program, which is a joke. It's like Stepper Shit 101 from the 1970s, and that is forced upon them by their union and by the airlines, Delta, United, you name it, all the airlines. And the third component, which we're finally ready to do, is the sexual harassment. Me Too never took off in AA. We finally have maybe 60, 70 people that have come together who have been sexually harassed or assaulted or raped. These are all very different things, right? One is criminal when you've been raped or sexually assaulted, and sexual harassment is a civil case, right? Okay, so again, I'm Monica Richardson, and I'm trying to work through the bugs and understand the technology to eventually do YouTube lives, okay? And that's about it, and we'll talk to you again soon.